You do, or put the things in or something on there.
Yeah.
Water. Yeah.
I'd like to call to order the organizational meeting of council at 7:05 p.m. on October the 30th, 2023. I would like to recognize and acknowledge that we are on Treaty 5 land, ancestral land of the Nisqually Cree Nation. Next, I would like approval of the agenda. Councilor Fitzpatrick. Deputy Mayor Valentino, all in favor? Carried. Next is the appointment of the deputy mayor. And I sent out a notice, actually, Tammy sent a notice on my behalf, asking for any interest. So in writing, I received back from Deputy Mayor Valentino, and I was asked some questions by Councillor Fitzpatrick. So I am now appointing Deputy Mayor Valentino for her second term as deputy mayor with us at this time. But I would also like to acknowledge that I have Councillor Fitzpatrick sitting on my right as Deputy Mayor Valentino, and I are quite often out of town, and he has taken up the slack on that. So I would like to thank him, and we'll be using him. But I'd also like to thank the rest of the council. This first year of this term of our council, more of you councillors have showed up to events and things than any other of the 2 terms prior that I was on. And I'd just like to acknowledge and appreciate that. And the public notices that. So thank you very much, everybody, for your input. Also tonight, I'd like to acknowledge we have Councillor Oakdorfer on Zoom, and Councillor Landmark has sent his regrets tonight. And City Manager Anthony McGinnis is also on Zoom tonight due to flight connections that he didn't get back to Thompson in time. Next, we're going to go into resolutions. So I guess going into that, we need the Board of Revision, Vehicle for Hire Commission, Building Standards Committee, Grievance Committee, and then a resolution for signing authorities and organizational meeting ballot description. So first off, we will go into a resolution to appoint members of council to the Board of Revision. So for the Board of Revision, we need 3 councillors and 2 alternates. At this point, I have Councillor McIver, Deputy Mayor Valentino, and Mayor Smook as alternate. So I need 1 more person for Board of Revision, a name for the main one, and then 1 more alternate. By show of hands, those of you who I have not named, who would like to be on the Board of Revision. Councillor Fitzpatrick, are you naming as a regular member?
Sure.
Okay. And I see your hand up, Councillor Colburn, will you go as an alternate?
Yes.
So those of us that are alternates, we don't have to attend all the meetings, but if somebody else can't attend, then we attend on their behalf. Councillor Colburn, I couldn't remember your first name for a second. You've been gone for so long.
Just call me.
I would also like to acknowledge Councillor Colburn back after his leave. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Glad
you.
to have you back.
Nice to have you back, Earl.
Thank you.
So, and I also need a chair of that board. I have Lynn Taylor is secretary to the board. I do need a chair of the group that I have mentioned. Did I see your hand up, Councillor Fitzpatrick?
She didn't.
Oh, Councilor McIver.
We're very democratic.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the AMM board. I like that.
Councillor Fitzpatrick always says, I have all kinds of time, just ask me what you need. So resolution 2023-146, moved by Councillor Wong, seconded by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Be it resolved that the following members of council are hereby appointed to the Board of Revision for the City of Thompson for 2025. Louis Fitzpatrick, Joyce McIver, Kathy Valentino are on the board. Alternates are Colleen Smook and Earl Colburn. And be it further resolved that Louis Fitzpatrick is hereby appointed as chairman of the board, And be it further resolved that Lynn Taylor is hereby appointed secretary to the board. Councillor Wong, if you have any, as a mover, administration, any questions first? No. Councillor Wong, as a mover, do you have any comments or
Nothing much
questions?
there, just to see a very good combination of the board members sitting on that position. Other than that, I think it's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Next is resolution 2023-147, moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Be it resolved that the following members of council are hereby appointed to the Vehicle for Hire Commission. Louis Fitzpatrick, Joyce McIver, Earl Colburn, Pauline Smook, and Duncan Wong. And be it further resolved that Earl Colburn is hereby appointed as chairman of the Vehicle for Hire Commission. And be it further resolved that Duncan Wong is appointed as vice chair for the Vehicle Hire Commission. Administration?
Is there 5 appointed?
Yes, okay. Okay. Any other, Councillor Fitzpatrick is mover. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
Any other questions? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We are moving into the members for the Building Standards Committee. I have Louis Fitzpatrick and Joyce McIver so far. I need 2 alternates for that committee. Do we have 2 alternates for the Building Standards Committee? Oh, we got Councillor Oberdorfer also on that committee. I'm sorry, I missed your name. It's 2 alternates that we need. Councillor Colburn. Yeah, Councillor Deputy Mayor Valentine. And we now need a chairperson of the Building Standards Committee. Councillor Oberdorfer, did I see your hand up?
Yeah.
Thank you. And vice chair.
Yeah.
That was your hand, Lou? Your Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna be a busy boy.
Well, I guess I shouldn't have retired.
It's a good thing you retired. Okay, resolution 2023-148, moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor McIver. Be it resolved that the following members of council are hereby appointed as the Building Standards Committee. Councillor Oberdorfer, Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor McIver, Councillor Colburn, Deputy Mayor Valentino. And be it further resolved that Councillor Oberdorfer is hereby appointed as chairperson of Building Standards Committee. And be it further resolved that Louis Fitzpatrick is appointed as acting chairperson of Building Standards. Any questions, Administration? Councillors? Call for the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Next resolution is 2023-149, moved by Councillor Wong, seconded by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Whereas council has the occasional need for a grievance committee to deal with stage 3 grievances as set out in the collective bargaining agreements. United Steelworkers Local 822302, United Steelworkers Local 8223-12, and Thompson Professional Firefighters Association Local 2200. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council approve Councillor Oberdorfer, Councillor Fitzpatrick, and Councillor McIver to the grievance committee. And be it further resolved that Councillor Fitzpatrick is hereby appointed as chairperson of the grievance committee. Administration,
Nothing further.
Councillor Wong is the mover.
No, I think so.
Any other comments from council? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Then we have resolution to appoint signing authorities. Resolution 2023-150, moved by Councillor Colburn, seconded by Councillor Chong. Whereas by the virtue of bylaw 2017-2022, being the City of Thompson organizational and procedure bylaw, the mayor and deputy mayor are authorized to sign or authorize agreements, checks, and other negotiable instruments of the City of Thompson. And whereas the bylaw further provides the said agreements, checks, and other instruments shall be signed by the city manager, acting city manager, chief financial officer, assistant financial officer, or a designated officer appointed by resolution in the annual organizational meeting of council. Now therefore be it resolved that the following persons be appointed as signing officers from October 30th, 2023, until further notice for the bank accounts and for all and any other negotiations by the city. Any two of the following, chief financial officer, assistant financial officer, city manager, acting city manager, the mayor and deputy mayor. Administration,
Nothing further.
Councillor Colbert as mover.
Not further.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried.
That's 6.6 doesn't need to go forth because there's no ballots for this meeting.
Okay, and as Tammy just pointed out, there's no need for 6.6 because we had no ballots because you were all so great in stepping up to the plate. And with that, I'm just going to, I didn't do any mayor's opening remarks. I sort of got business out of the way. I just wanted to let everybody know that we've had a busy year. We've had all of you new councillors have stepped up to the plate. We've continued with our sewer and water projects. We continued with the paving, with our sidewalks. It's just been great. The Well Variety Center opened a year ago, and it continues to adapt to the needs of our vulnerable people from the north. Our Ford dealership officially opened in the last few weeks. Area 5 cold weather testing continues to upgrade and move ahead. We've got the airport construction happening. We have the bridge construction happening. We have the courthouse offices work still undergoing. We have the RD Parker expansion. Valet has continued exploration and upgrades. We have got our first EV charging station at TRCC. It's going to be up and running in the next few weeks, I'm anticipating. Ford also has a charging station. So there's just some of the things that we've done. Like Kuwait Tribal Council, land development, Pacifico has papers have been signed. It was a very big day for the north when we did that. The Princeton Towers is undergoing refurbishment, and that we've had just since the new election, we've had the MRI already announced for Thompson, and we continue to push for further healthcare. One of the things that was on the hit list this year that will start next year is our Juniper Park upgrades. That'll start as soon as we can get into the water, and it's still ongoing with our aquatic facility. It has definitely not been moved. It's just there's different plans, and we'll be sharing that with you over the next while. So that is just a few of the things that would happen. Like I said, I'd like to thank all of my council for the way they partake and stepped up to the plate at last minute notices, or that our director of planning, Lyle Sopranitz, has definitely been instrumental and getting our road work and that on place. I'd like to thank Sonia, TRCC, definitely couldn't have, gone, the direction it has without you at the helm. Lynn, you've only been with us a few months and you've already made a expert statement here in Thompson, so we really appreciate all the hard work you've done. Public Works definitely continued. We look forward to the budget this year and see where we're going and upgrading and that and our equipment and that. We also had Ian Graham join us this year, and so it's just great. We've got a whole new section of people downstairs, and it's absolutely great to work with everybody. So with that, and then we've got Tammy, who's basically done 2 jobs for the last year. Since Angie has departed, that Tammy has definitely been one of our top 10 employees this year, keeping us all in the straight and narrow as much as she can. And Anthony McGinnis, he's stranded in Winnipeg, but definitely without him at our helm, we wouldn't be to where we are today. So thank you, and anybody that I missed, I apologize. You can come and beat on me later. So thank you very much, everybody. With that being said, I would like to call for adjournment of this part of the meeting. Deputy Mayor Valentino, Councilor Fitzpatrick, all in favor? Thank you. So now, at 7:50 p.m., we're going to go into committee of the whole for October the 30th, 2023. Right. To recognize and acknowledge that we're on the ancestral lands of Nitchisswasic Cree Nation. Thank you. And I'd like an approval of the agenda next. Councilor Colburn, Deputy Mayor Valentino, all in favor? Carried. Next, the community comments and feedback. Do we have anybody that would be on Zoom or any notices, Tammy?
No.
Okay, and as we have nobody in the audience, we will just continue on with our reports. 5.1 is development report. First report is development and technical services department. Kyle?
Good evening, everybody. My report is attached. I think the big thing to start with on the report is that we've finished our 2023 construction season for both the water and the road project. At this point, I've got a list of people that I'd like to thank this year. Our 2 engineering techs, Chris and Mike, who were basically with the project all year. Thanks to them. Ian, with all the communications that have gone on this year through Facebook, through our Connect app, our public works team and water and sewer team, Neil and Clarence and their group, for helping out where needed, sometimes at very, very short notice. Manitoba Hydro, we've got all of our streets back lit for Halloween, which is what we had planned and Hydro had committed, and yeah, Westwood's now got the temporary lighting up, Juniper's lit, Deerwood's lit, so we're in good shape. And finally, last but definitely not least, the residents of Thompson for their patience and understanding as we got through another very busy construction season, to which at levels at which have not been seen in this community probably since the town was built. In my memo tonight, I've kind of provided to you the projects by numbers. So if you look at road renewal, we put in 5 kilometers of roads this year alone, with under the ISIP and an additional 1.1 kilometers outside of ISIP, that being Staghorn and a little section of Oak Street that we did. We installed almost, well, in excess of 7 kilometers of sidewalk, of curb, and 1.5 kilometers of sidewalk and almost 3/4 of a kilometer of multi-use pathway. We've got all of our 2022 road projects were completed. We have some of the 2023 projects left to do next year, and those are the sections of Thompson Drive and Juniper Drive. We did, however, get a sacrificial layer of asphalt put on Juniper around the corner of the splash pad, and we only put a very thin layer on just to kind of keep it in place for the winter. The plan is that will be built in the spring and will serve as part of our base and foundation for the final lift that will go on. I don't have costs for any of our projects right now. We're just kind of finishing up our last invoicing and last costing, but I'll bring the costs for the next meeting. Moving on to water and wastewater, this year we installed 950 meters of water main and 802 meters of wastewater main, 71 services to all the houses. In total, so far under the project, we've done 3.3 kilometers of water main and 1.9 kilometers of wastewater main and 242 services. As I mentioned earlier, new street lights have gone up on Juniper. The lights on, on Deerwood rather, Juniper's all been connected and functioning. The new ones will be put forward in the coming year. And we've got wood temporary poles on Westwood, again, to provide light through the winter. And those will be renewed to the standard steel posts with underground buried wire next year. So again, thank you again to all of those individuals that helped to get us to where we are today. Planning is already underway for 2024. I'll be sharing more information on that in the coming weeks, the coming months rather. Facilities perspective, both of our arenas are operational. We've had some issues with the Zamboni over the past month. Our team is currently looking at maintenance practices, maintenance requirements, and are developing a critical spare inventory to reduce potential downtime. I think as we all know, living in Thompson, freight takes time. So we're trying to come up with a list of parts that we can keep locally that will reduce that downtime. As was mentioned earlier, the level 3 charger at the TRCC. When I wrote my memo, we weren't waiting for the hydro inspection. The hydro inspection has been completed, and that is all done. So we are now just waiting for the last bit of commissioning from the supplier. Our geotechnical evaluation, the driller is scheduled to come up on November 20th to conduct additional drilling at the City Hall ravine. We're still developing a plan to drill the Gordon Beard Arena because of the proximity of ring bar and the blind lines. We don't want to take a risk to jeopardize the asset. And the public safety building envelope study, we're expecting that report. We're hoping by the end of the month, but I'm hoping now at the end of this week. From a development perspective, we've got one option to purchase currently in place. We are waiting for the contractor to develop a building plan for the location. We had 5 permits issued in October, total construction value of $135,800. And to date, 74 permits have been issued with a construction value of just shy of $28 million. Last year, at this time, we had 66 permits issued with $26.6 million construction value. I'll add that the department's undergone some training. I did put that in the report over the last week. Our chief building inspector, Danny Haywood, was in Winnipeg last week for 2 days, training session on the new building code. So as I reported earlier, come January 1st, the province is adopting the 2020 National Building Code. It's a big jump. The existing building code is 2010. So there's 2010, 2015, 2020. The province has jumped right to 2020. So all the building inspectors now basically are trying to absorb all the changes from 2015 and all the changes from 2020. And then myself, along with our city manager, Anthony McGinnis, we were in Winnipeg last week to attend the Manitoba Planning Conference for 3 days. This was all municipal planners, provincial planners from across the province to meet to discuss various issues around planning. Councillor Fitzpatrick was there as well as a rep from the AMM. So that's my report for this evening.
Thank you. Again, another busy year, very positive. Next, recreation report. Yes, Councilor Coleman,
You
sorry.
skipped over public works.
Pardon?
You skipped over public works.
Public-
You jumped over public works.
They were supposed to be first.
Sorry. It's not on my one that I have there. Sorry, Neil.
Okay.
That's okay. You can skip it anytime.
Ready?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so my report is provided, our public works crew are currently working Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. The change of weather, that could change at any point in time, but hopefully the snow stays away. All our snow clearing and winter maintenance equipment has been serviced and is ready to be deployed. Our sander got sent out yesterday, and then again, you would have saw it again today. The roads are pretty slick, so we ask everyone to kind of drive according to the road conditions, slow down. It is winter time now. But at the same time, potholes still exist. Our pothole crews continue to be deployed as needed. And our grader operators will continue to maintain any gravel roads that either never got asphalt from the capital projects or any other actual gravel roads that we have around the city. Millennium Trail maintenance continues, very disheartening. We did a big project on the Eastwood section of the Millennium Trail this summer. It got destroyed last spring from quads and dirt bikes. Took our crews about 3 weeks with a bunch of material, packing it, getting it back into shape. They were really proud of it, and it just got destroyed again by quads and dirt bikes. So we're gonna try to make it passable at least for the winter time, and then be back at it again in springtime to find a way. I don't know what we can do to stop that, but it's happening. Unfortunately, it's just creating more work that we didn't have planned for and we're budgeted for, but needs to be done because it is our money trail. Splash parks have been decommissioned for the season, and the first phase of the cemetery expansion is going to be completed by the end of November. And then as well as our compost site will be closed on November 1st. That's the grass and leaves bins outside of our public works yard. If you have brush or branches that need to be disposed of, they can be taken to the waste disposal grounds free of charge at any point in time year round. So moving on to the waste disposal grounds, as of November 1st, we are into our winter hours, so we will be Monday to Friday from 8 AM to 5:30 PM. As well as a one-stop drop, household hazardous waste depot will be open on Tuesdays and Thursdays to accept any household hazardous waste, batteries, electronic waste, waste oil, etc. For the water and sewer, we had 7 water mains repaired, 2 water service repaired, 1 hydrant repaired, and 1 storm repair. And then you can see the ongoing work. That is just a board that never stops getting filled up with any water breaks. So currently there's 4 main water breaks repair on the board, 7 service breaks, 6 storms, 6 hydrants, 2 sewer services and 3 manholes, as well as some mainline valves that require repairing. As well as our water and sewer crew have been pumping out any fire hydrants and trying to make sure that they're all ready for the winter season and frozen. So, and my report tonight.
Thank you. My question was just to reiterate that after November 1st, there'll be no Saturday hours at the waste disposal grounds. So, Deputy Mayor Bounty.
Thanks, Mayor Smith. Thanks for the report. I have just a few things that made me think when you're giving your report. The issue with the ATVs and the quads, was there not, or did there not used to be like a committee or a user group, off-road group in Thompson that we had met with, and they had a map of where they could go? It was years ago when we first got on or something.
There's an off-road group, but they're not really
Active
it's not like Snowman and the Trailbreakers. There's no actual
group anymore?
group.
Okay, I was just thinking, I didn't know if they were still, or if we could get them re-interested and maybe that they could help with this problem. I don't know, I'm just thinking about
I
that.
can try to find some names, reach out to see if I can come across some people.
Okay, and then the cemetery, I see, and I don't know what we do with ornaments or memorial things, if they get moved or not. The only reason I'm asking is I seen the city of Portage, and there was some other city that they post that they ask people to remove them for the winter season. And I don't know, but I know the city of Portage had a pretty respectful way they put it out there to the public. I don't know if it's worth something, if that even matters to your department with the cemetery, but I just wanted to let you know that. And my other thing was to Lyle's report.
Okay.
Can I go ahead? I just wanted to mention to Director Swanson, I think it's worth mentioning that our city manager gave a presentation at that planners conference in Winnipeg. He was part of the presenters, and I have asked if council could receive the presentation in camera, so you're all aware of what he presented, because from what I'm hearing, he did a very fabulous job and represented the city well. So I just wanted to add that into your report. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Questions? Councilor Wong.
I give it to McGuinness first. He got his hands up.
Anthony?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Just to note to the Deputy Mayor's question, the City of Thompson has a bylaw 1317-89, last amended in the year 2014 to regulate off-road vehicles in the City of Thompson. So it might be time to bring that bylaw back for another look. I believe the mapping is outdated in there, and that would probably be a good opportunity to engage off-road vehicle different partners in the community and make sure that everything's up to date.
Any, Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of questions to the Director of the Public Works. Number one is the house on Gold Eye, the first house on the left. There's looks like a hole, sinkhole. It's been barricaded quite some time. I believe it was a fire hydrant before. So maybe you should look at it.
Still is a fire hydrant.
Is it a fire
Yeah, it's
hydrant?
right beside the fire hydrant. We have no running water, there's no water right there. We don't know why that exists, so that's why we have a barricaded off. The homeowner didn't even report it to us. We noticed it before anybody else. It's right beside the fire hydrant. Water breaks take our priority, so we just have to come into that one. But yeah, so the fire hydrant's operational and everything too, so.
It's been quite some time. That's why I want to mention, because I seen some kid was playing around during the daytime when they walk to school. So I just don't want to see anything happen. So hopefully you can stay on top and maybe fix it up. The second question is about the summer project. We're supposed to tender the job to Maple Leaf to do some road, but end up because they're too busy. So the city manager replied to my question, say the public work will take up the job. So I was wondering how that go. Is it all completed? Like some is like Riverside, adjacent to Grand Night, and some on Nelson Road. All this is a small little area. So is there any update for that?
So one section got actually asphalted. Maybe we did the asphalting for us. We did the prep work. We had two areas prepped and ready to go. One on Riverside, closer to Riverside School, intersection of Riverside and Granite. The other one was on this side of Riverside between Granite and Copper. Unfortunately, we ended up with a water break that popped up on the Riverside School side. So that stopped any hope of having that asphalted this year. But the other side was actually, did actually get redone. That's all that Maple Leaf could commit asphalt for us for, so that's all that we were able to get completed. We had other areas ready to go, but we're gonna open up anything that wasn't gonna be able to be closed. Fortunately now, with that one by Riverside School, next year we'll be able to hopefully asphalt it. We'll keep it tuned up with top right up with bases, level and smooth. The water still drains, but we're gonna keep on top of that until we can actually asphalt it next year.
So sorry, can I continue? So based on the 5 areas that identified, so you managed to get about half of it, basically. Because Riverside, there's 2 areas you just mentioned, Nelson Road and then Tree Line Avenue and Martin Way. So you got 2 pretty much done and 1 prep but not done.
We got one area actually fully completed on the Riverside, the other side prepped and ready to go. The other areas, because we couldn't get commitment of asphalt, we were not gonna open up it. I wasn't gonna leave more gravel roads for us to have to deal with in the spring yet.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
We had some issues with their equipment there for the last couple of weeks, 3 years, and that was, we had the gorgeous weather, but then they had equipment issues. So definitely put it on that. Any other questions? Councilor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, in regards to the, your compost site, I've had numerous people from the public ask me, if it was possible, if we could have the fences removed from around the bins that we have there. And if we could possibly get some gravel spread around there because it's all mud.
The fences we cannot, as a bylaw, right? It's, so I cannot remove those fences. We have spread some, but not around the outside of it, so I can absolutely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, just one more thing. Because we gotta get ready for the snow clearing, do we have a communication strategy in place since this is gonna be Ian's first year with the whole snow clearing world and how you guys are gonna communicate? I just wanna make sure that that's ready to roll.
I haven't bombarded Ian with it yet.
Get ready, Ian.
I have a newer supervisor for Public Works, operational supervisor, and I will be having a newer senior clerk or receptionist as well that will be doing PSAs. So it's going to be a learning curve for the 3 of them, and they're going to have to listen to me, unfortunately. So we will have a good strategy for our communication.
Thanks.
Anthony?
Yes, thank you, your worship. With respect to the question on the fence at the waste disposal grounds at the the composting, that is due to the solid waste bylaw, I believe, which requires the fences to be around the garbage bins. That was brought up earlier by Carol Taylor prior to her retirement. And I believe that was one thing council was looking at. So right now the director's hands are tied. He's required to maintain that fence because that's council's bylaw. But if council wishes to make those changes to the enclosures, then he could make that change.
Thank you.
Councilor McIver?
While we're on snow clearing discussion, not sure if this is time or place, but it's where what I would like to see is that snow clearing instead of snow piling. You know, our city is so ugly with all the piles of snow. That's always my issue, and we need to clear it instead of piling it. You know, and because we have this big pile right in front of the what do you call this here plaza. You know, and it's I know, but still, it's where we should they should be.
That would be a budget consultation to see what the costs of moving snow versus piling the snow. So that'll be up to us as councillors to bring that forward.
But it is a safety
Make some
issue.
policies. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else?
Last year, we had an extraordinary amount of snow, right? Compared to other years, did we have more snow last year?
I don't believe we had more than other years, but we had a good.
Wait a minute. Now, what about our snow blower machine that blows right into the truck?
Yeah.
Is that functional?
It's functional, it's serviced and ready to go, it's not new, I would like to take the budget for discussions of replacement, but, it's functional, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
And I can remember when we have asked prior as council that you need X amount of trucks in order to follow that snow blower along to make it actually. Okay, anything else? So all good suggestions, a lot of them have to, you know, the budget process is coming up very shortly and we'll discuss them there. Next, according to my agenda, is the recreation report.
We started public skating has begun at the TRCC. We're holding it in the GB arena. It is Saturdays and Sundays from 5 to 7:30. We have purchased some new signs as well for the public skating area, the fitness area, and some new signs for cleaning washrooms. The ones that we had were very outdated and actually they were marked on the back of a piece of board with a Sharpie. So we've really updated that area. We still continue to have our drop-in basketball, badminton, pickleball, those continue to take place. We've actually, I'm happy to say, we finally have our ActiveNet system is up on live and it's on, so people can actually register for their workshops. They can also see the ice bookings and any scheduling, so they can go online and see what is available for any facility or ice, and then they can contact the recreation department and they can book them in. We currently do not have it set up where people can book ice or book their rooms at this point. We may look at that in the future, but we're just very happy to say that the workshops, I've actually used it myself and it took me 2 minutes to book the workshop, so it works really well. Staff are really happy that we have that up and running. And I was actually asked to bring forward the revenue for the game room for 2022, comparing it to 2023. So in 2022, it was $1,209.95 in revenue versus 2023 was $52,28.97. The increase, a big increase. We believe it's due to the rentals for private birthday rentals. The drop-ins are pretty much roughly the same, but we did have a lot of birthdays this year, whereas we didn't offer that in 2022. And we've got a few areas for in October where we either put on events or partner with people. We did hold the Fire Prevention Day at the TRCC in partnership with the Fire Hall. There was some yoga classes, babysitting classes, they were all sold out. We've had a couple of paint nights, some for teens and adults. Again, they were sold out. Our teen, I think our teen one, we ended up with 7 in that paint workshop with Jason. Our Halloween or haunted house is very successful this year. Tonight is the last night for it. I believe it's done at 8 o'clock tonight. Last year we had, I actually got the stats, we had about 820 tickets that we sold in 2022. This year, so far, we've sold 2,104 tickets. So our revenue was around $4,200 already, and again, not including what might happen tonight. MKO and the Thompson Renewal Corporation purchased tickets, and they left them with us to give out for free. So on the Friday night, the first 50 people who entered were free. And then on the Saturday, Sunday, and tonight, we were able to do the first 100 people that went through would be free for them because they pre-purchased the tickets for them. So I want to say thank you to them for supporting the haunted house. Had a lot of great feedback from it. The staff really enjoyed doing it, and it was nice to see the kids, not only kids, actually adults come out and we're scaring adults, which is kind of fun too. So they're really enjoying that. We also did the trick or trunk in the parking lot at the TRCC. We needed more spots, so we had one area blocked off, and we could have used more areas. So it was pretty well attended as well. And then our pre-skate for Halloween as well, that was really well attended. We have some upcoming things. Obviously, Christmas is right after Halloween, so we're going to start decorating for Christmas at the TRCC. We have the tree lighting that's happening on November the 25th. We also have the Santa Parade is on the 25th, and we have Remembrance Day that is happening on November the 11th. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Deputy Mayor Valentino.
I'm so happy about the signing up and registering. We're halfway there because now we've got to do the ice and room booking, but that has been years and years and years and years. So good stuff. I'm very happy about that. I had a lot of positive comments about people registering for the babysitting course. They said how easy it was to do that. So I know that was a bit of a frustrating process. So thanks for getting that done. So is the public skating consistent on those dates?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I understand things come up and it will be canceled, but it's not like all over the map, it'll be consistent. Do we still have that parent and me skate during the daytimes?
I don't believe we do at this point, no. Right now, we're short IPO, so we wouldn't really have anything consistent with that right now.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to mention was on the game room. That was some creative thinking, and I think it shows that it's good to think outside the box. I mean, I think that's been a success, and I hope that the department can continue on with that or creative things. I think that clearly shows. I mean, it's not just about what's generated, it's also about putting something on for our community. So I think that was a really good thing. So that's good. Thank you.
Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the report. And as I said last time, I think the game room is pretty successful based on the report. But I just want to clarify one thing. There is a private group renting that facility just for that, because the jump is $4,000. You say there's a private rental.
Private rentals would be birthday parties, so it would be a.
So people do book their game room for that event
Yes.
or just,
That's on our, you're talking about the.
well, because the game room
Yeah.
she created that thing for people to drop in and
Okay.
pay some fee. But you say private, so that's why it jumped up. So I'm just wondering, I try to understand that. Does that mean people do rent your game room to do private function?
Correct. So the game room we rented the game room out for birthday parties. So if we had certain times set aside, that was just for private rentals. So if you had a birthday 15-year-old kid, you could come, you would rent it, we would put out the TVs that we have, because we have televisions with Xbox and Switches. So we would put those additional things out into the game room when it was rented for a private birthday party. So nobody else could go in, just that the individuals that rented it would go in at that time and they could hold their birthday party there.
So I try to understand, I thought they're renting the room and using the facility there, what you created for all the.
Correct, you're using the games, they have the tables all set up there, so they're actually having their birthday party there, so they don't.
Okay.
Kind of like if you go bowling, you can have your bowling party kind of thing, so it was set up, they can play all the games. And it was for all ages, not just teenagers, we had extra bouncy houses that we would put out if it was a private rental, so they'd get like a little extra bonus if it was a private rental.
Makes sense, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, all three of you for your reports. It definitely, you can tell we're now out of COVID. It seems this, this past year has definitely been updated, upgraded, and we appreciate all the hard work of all. Next, we're gonna go into recreation. 6.1 is a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to the amendments of the waiving of fee policy. Sonia?
If over the new, the way we use the. Is that right?
It's included in your memo, underneath your memo.
Other than, okay, sorry. Right. So I've been asked, or administration's been asked to review the waiving of fees policy. In hopes of bringing, focusing, I guess, really on the special event requests that are brought to council on a yearly basis. And there's quite a few, as I've got the list below. So taking them and identifying them in the waiving of fees policy would eliminate the requirement for them to have to come to council each year to ask for special event status. So I did add those. I wasn't too sure what else that council would have wanted put in here, but I did go through and make some changes. So I did add Remembrance Day, National Indigenous Day, Truth and Reconciliation, Canada Day, Winterfest, Manitoba Traveler Association, the Fur Tables event, Knights of Columbus, and Relay for Life are all added as special events. And then a community event would be Nickel Days, and then the non-admission would be the CHTM trade show, as well as the Community Futures, Artist Practice, and Small Business Expo. So they are organizations that normally would come to council, like I said, and council would pass a resolution for them to have that special event. So those are added into the new waiving of fees. And I've added some definitions in as well as to what special events are. And I believe, what special events are and the non-commercial special events. We've added in some definitions. To add to that, we also added in 2 items that, or 2 organizations, I guess, that come forth yearly for the 50% waiving of fees. One being the Manitoba Trappers Association. They're a regular ongoing event that takes place in the community, and they do come forth every year for that 50% waiving. They do follow the policy. They always ask 60 days prior. But again, I think this would eliminate that requirement for them. And then we also had the Hindu event. That is an event that does charge a fee to attend. Last year, they did come forth and ask for waiving of the fees. This year, and they were provided a copy of the waiving of fees policy last year. We did speak to them this year as well with respect to the extra costs that were going to be incurred for their event. So I know that there was a letter attached for them asking for us to waive their fees. They didn't follow the policy, which is 60 days, so that's something that wasn't followed, but I did put it into my memo and into the waiving of fees policy if that's something that council wanted to consider. The fees that I had in here, I did update them today because we did not have what they were looking for November the 12th, because that's another day that they're looking at wanting to rent the gym. So their total fees for their 4-day events, 3 that are already passed, plus the upcoming November 12th, is $5,906.39. There is a fee to attend their event. I did speak to them on Friday, and at that point they had 300 people tickets sold to their event, and they were anticipating to have close to 400 people or 400 tickets sold to go to their event. So I did, again, my numbers are off a little bit in here because of my new numbers I got today. So the total for those two events, if we, wait, the 50%, was $7,765.69. I have also included waiving of fees for 100% once per year for Truth Reconciliation, National Indigenous Day, Nickel Days, and the Relay for Life. Again, the waiving of fees, 100% for those is just over $70,000 for the year for those 4 events. There were some talks, I believe it was earlier in the year, about what events fell under the joint use agreement that we have with the school district of Mystery Lake. So I did include 3 of the top that we normally do for the school district, which are Knights of Columbus, Festival of the Arts, and the grade 12 graduation ceremony. But in the Knights of Columbus is put on by the Knights of Columbus, but it is an event for the school, similar to what the Festival of the Arts is. Knights of Columbus would be responsible, or normally they go every year to do the lines that are actually on the CA arena. My understanding is that they were looking at getting somebody brought up to paint them on in the next year or so. That's not been confirmed, that's some talk that I heard of. They were, I think, hand painting them on last year. So they do need to be replaced. So I just wanted to make sure that we did note that in the waiving of fees as well. So there's no misunderstanding of what falls under, I guess, a student or a school event. And the value right now for waiving those 3 would be just over $14,000 when those ones were paid. So I don't know, I actually made sure that we added on in here if we do waive the fees, and I believe it must have already been in there. The organization is supposed to be setting up the tables and chairs on their own, taking down the tables and chairs, cleaning up after themselves. I know the Hindu event that we just put on, our staff had to put up and take down the tables and chairs on 3 different occasions because they had 3 different days. They had everything set up in our lobby area, which we couldn't leave up for the entire time. That is an additional cost to have extra staff to be able to do that. So in the waiving of fees policy, it indicates that they are responsible for taking care. We would put out the tables and chairs. They would have to take them and they would set them up, and then they would have to ensure that the tables and chairs are cleaned up and the area is cleaned up and left in the condition that they have, that they received it in. So that was added. And I think just a few more that they would just have to let us know, and they would have to follow the guidelines, letting us know 60 days in advance if they're going to be using the space, as they do normally every year, because the dates will change. I did want to delete a couple sections. I spoke with some of the staff this morning. So I believe in, say, 13F, where it says that recreation will place in our booking system the same day of each year for the discounted event. It would be up to the organization to provide notice of any date and time change. Failure to do so may result in the event date not being available, and an alternate date would be selected. Because the dates change every year, sometimes we have to switch things around, if it's for station, trade show, or different things. They said it's best for us not to put that in there, that we're gonna automatically put the date in. So I would delete those sections. That indicates that it's just easier for our tracking system after this, so not to have that in.
Thank you. Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to go back to the Hindu Society. The question to you is, Sonia, because last year we did do some waiving for that. My question is why the price changed so much? Because last year I remember the conversation was they pre-booked, they paid for the event, but because of COVID, they didn't use the money. So, but at the end, the total comes to $1,200 some for the 4 days event. Why the price jumped so much for this year?
They tripled their time. So they had.
No, they're exactly the same time. As a matter of fact, the numbers were less people this year compared to the last year. The last year after the COVID, they had way more people.
The space was booked last year for 6 hours per day. This year they booked it for, I think it was 17 and 12 and 12, I believe somewhere around there, it might be off an hour or two, but they did, what they were, charged in our system were 6 hours a day last year.
But the event is start from 5 to 1.
No,
It used
they
to be
were,
12 event, but they asked for extension 1 hour. So we came to agreement at that time and say, yeah, we could do that. As a matter of fact, after you've done the math, it's about $400 extra. We're supposed to charge them. But we say, you know what, we're gonna waive the $400, so we just used up the money that we put in the fund, which is $1,200. And then that is the resolution to approve. So I did some investigation, the hours the same.
it wasn't, and, we booked them in our system, they came in the morning, they started decorating and setting things up. They left their stuff there all night, we couldn't book it out to anybody else. So when somebody comes in and they set their things up and we can't book it out to anybody else, they're paid for the time that they're in there. So they were in early in the morning, starting to decorate, they left their things there all night until the next couple days. So they had their items in there, we couldn't take them out, they had a big unit set up in the middle of the gymnasium. So it wasn't rentable to anybody else. So normally when, it's not rentable to anybody else, they pay for when they're in there till, 10 o'clock at night. And they were in there the whole day, because I know on the Friday I was in speaking to the gentleman, that were setting up their, I don't know what it's called, but it's a big red, and they have in the center of the gym. So they were decorating and setting these things up. So they were there for the whole entire, like, I think it was 12 and anyways, they were there for more than 6 hours a day.
And there's also additional staff.
And yes, sorry, there was additional staff, that were brought in because it was hectic last year. We have photographs of everything that was there last year, so we had to bring in extra staff, and they were made aware of that. Our staff had a big mess to clean up last year. So this year, when they did book through the facility, coordinator, they were told there was extra staff brought in because of that. And they were good with it at the time.
So did they set up early last year also, or did they set up the day of?
I would have to check. I don't know what they did for setup last year. I think it was a last minute kind of thing. I would have to check with the manager, because I know that, the facility manager took photos and everything last year. And they had more chairs and stuff that were put out, but I know when I spoke to them on, the Friday, they had already had 300 tickets sold on Friday, and they were anticipating 400.
Thank you.
Thank
After
you.
1 year.
Thank you. It's actually the same compared to last year. The setup, the left, the top, they are gone. The statues there for 3 days event. Because I was invited there, and then even Madam Mayor, you were there one night.
I went in the evening, so I'm not sure what
So that
was said.
status is left there for the 3 days event because they cannot move the because of the religion. Anyway, to me, it's nothing changed. The mass probably happened. I agree with you because there's so many people dancing, and then could be a lot of food stuff. I agree with that. But anyway, I think that the price is kind of like outrageous compared to last year because we agreed with that last year. And I don't remember we did increase the fees at 5 for this year. So I can see the jump that's significant. I can see the 2%, 5%, but not thousands of dollars. So that part I'm not agree with that. But another thing I'd like to suggest, they are part of the community. They have a church here. So why can't we put them into a special event statute? Because they're gonna do it every year. And that would be save a lot of hassle for all of us.
I guess that could be up to council, but if we do it for that church, I would anticipate other churches, wanting to move forward for us to do the same thing.
Because there are 400 people living in this town. They also contribute the economy to the Thompson. When we can put the Trapper Association as a special event because they come here, they purchase and spend money. That's what our objective, right? Because they are spending hundreds of thousands, but these people who live and bought business and also buy houses here. So I think we should put them as a special event, if they agree with it. I think we still have to go through the process, not to say, just put it there.
Again, with special events, that's up to them as a community or committee to come forward to us to request such a thing, and that would come before
That's
council,
what I just said.
to let council decide. We'll go to Anthony next.
Yeah, so the councilor's question is really a decision of council's. The administration just presenting what the policy is now and with the suggestions that were brought forth. If that's what council's decision is, then we would just need you to give us that direction. We're just going to provide you with the warning that if you do it for one particular organization, then you're be prepared to offer and extend it to others of the same type of organization.
Thank you. Is there any other comments from councilors? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I do. I have a few comments for this. Besides the snow clearing policy, this policy has come forth more than any other one, I think, since I've been on council. This is always one that comes up. So a couple things for me, I don't support this. I don't support the 50% when someone is charging for 300 to 400 people both nights to come in. What are they charging it to get in for their tickets?
I was told it was $40 a ticket.
So they have 400 people, so it's 16,000, is that correct?
Yeah.
So 16,000 of revenue. And they have been doing this for a few years. I'm just going off of some of your notes. They were provided a copy of the fees and how it works last year. They tripled the amount of time they actually booked this year compared to what they booked last year. That's the difference. So the booking was increased. And they were told before this event this year that they needed extra staff, and that was included in the increase in cost. So my concern is if this isn't not for profit, unless they can prove with their financial statements that it's not for profit, because this is telling me that they're bringing in $16,000 just in ticket sales for one night. I don't know if you pay for both nights or if you pay per night.
For the week. That's
For the
all-
weekend?
all
Okay,
it
so
is.
they're bringing in 16,000 at the gate. So what difference is it we give them 50% than we give Mun Cup? Cause they charge at the gate, so maybe they want everything for 50%. Maybe the North Stars who charge at the gate should start asking for a 50% discount. Like, I don't understand, I won't support this 50% discount to this organization at this time. Because it doesn't make any sense to me how we can do that for them, and not for everybody else who wants to rent our facility. Like, I think that there needs to be further maybe discussion with them on their income and revenue, and if how can they be in their letters saying not for profit, but they're charging? I don't understand that. Like, I would need more something from them before I would feel comfortable in that they would get any kind of a deal. And I also understand coming out of COVID, so we did help them last year, like, and we wanted to help people. But the reality is, if you're telling me like 400 tickets at $40 a person, I can't right now understand how they can be not for profit. So at this time, I wouldn't support them being in the new fee and fines, or the new policy. The waiving of fee policy, or giving them the discount for this year until there was more information.
Is there any other councillors that haven't commented before I go back to Councillor Long? Anybody want to make a statement or talk? Councillor Colbert.
Well, I don't know. I'm down Reno a little bit more than normally, was normally. But I see parents with 1 and 2 kids playing hockey. Now, that can't be cheap. They don't come to us and ask for discounts. Right? They don't come, they're charged money for their kids, then you gotta get everything ready for the kids. It's humongous to put two kids or two sports this time of year. And then we got a committee that's doing things, they say they're nonprofit, but they want a discount. Hey, if it's good reason, you give them a discount, then I see it. If they're not making lots of money, if they got, if they don't have much money or something, I don't mind throwing in, but these guys are making enough money to pay their fees. So I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor comments? Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that's a misinformation. This is the religious group. They don't charge money. Pretty sure. So until we get the proof, I don't think we should make that kind of comment at this moment. They're all free. They're all based on the donation and the help they get. So that's all I got the information. But where you say the charging, I have no idea. So to me, that's a religion group. Just like church, they don't charge for that. It's just a donation. So even though if you say that's the case, so what about the land that we lease it out to the fried land? So there's not also a profit, the charging. So how come we don't charge them? We go above and beyond to help them to have the 6 days event, and we don't even have a report what it's all about. Are they charging? Are they getting money? They get charged. It's advertised publicly, $20 per person. So if that's a standard that we want to set, I think we should set all across the board. I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that.
I
If
think
not, I think we should
we're
just,
not comparing apples to apples
oh,
here.
it's a
Land
profit,
development's different.
it's a profit.
Even if this group was coming forward and saying, we're making $16,000, but.
We don't know that yet.
No.
Madam Mayor, we don't know that yet.
If this is the case and they're making a donation or doing, some kind of a project, that might have a different spin, but for us, and I also was told by a good authority that they were charging at the event. So if that's the case, I think it was up to them to give us more information on where this money was being
I think that
spent.
would be fair to get more information before we jump the gun and criticize them, okay?
I don't think anybody's criticizing, we're just, trying to make sure we're treating everybody fairly. So the recommendation here is, what do we see? Do we want to get more information? Do we want to just go ahead and charge? Sandra?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I think I would like more information before I'm willing to support it. I am happy to see that this policy is coming forward, and I do like that Truth and Reconciliation Day has been added on there, and National Indigenous Peoples Day has been added. It's good to see that those organizations won't have to come forward to ask for a reduction in fees for those events annually anymore, when we say as an organization we support truth and reconciliation. So I'm really happy to see that we're finally reviewing this policy and making that hopefully passing it with those changes to have those as special events, so they don't have to request that anymore. But regarding the discussion that's ongoing in council chambers right now, I would like to see more information before I'm willing to make any decision on that piece of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So is it fair enough to say that we need more information as to what if any fees were collected, how they were spent, how they were going to, before we actually make a final decision on the money? Is that by show of hands? Who's in favor of that? Who's opposed? Okay, so we're asking for more information from their side. Thank you. Next, 6.2 is a memo from Director of Recreation and Community Services and request for a special event. Back to you.
Community Futures North Central Development is holding their 2023 Small Business Expo on November the 18th at the TRCC. This is an annual event that takes place. They are requesting a special event status, and they would pay the non-commercial special event license fee as per the visa fine, which is $515. And that, because it is a special event non-commercial, so all the businesses that do partake would not have to have a individual business license, so that gives them a blanket coverage.
Thank you. Comments?
Is this just in the TRCC? Is that we're in the gymnasium area?
Gymnasium, yes.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about ice. Okay, thank you.
Is everybody fine with putting this on next agenda by show of hands? Okay. Or regular agenda. Next, call for adjournment. Dr. Mayor Valentino, Councilor Colburn, all in favor? Just a reminder, tomorrow night is Halloween, please drive careful. Thompson Fire and Emergency Services will be out about 4:30. Going to the streets, our CMP have extra persons on tomorrow night. With the icy conditions, thank you to Neil and crew that have been out, sanding and will definitely tomorrow night. For your, youth, please try do makeup instead of, masks and that, and make for them to be able to see, much better. That being said, thank you all for participation tonight.